Legendary horror director Wes Craven passed away over the weekend.
She's the only one who can stop it.
Craven scared and delighted movie audiences for 4 decades with classics like Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream. His films were box office sensations, earning more than $500 million. The director once described his craft as saying, "Horror films don't create fear, they release it." Craven died at his home in Los Angeles following a lengthy battle with brain cancer. Wes Craven dead at the age of 76. Jason Gorber is a critic with Twitchfilm.com. He joins us now from downtown Toronto. Jason, great to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Tell us now, were there things about Wes Craven's work that distinguished him from other horror movie directors?
So if you look at his works over his career, there's something that's sort of unique about them, is he brought a sort of cerebral and almost a meta thing. I know that it sounds really dark, but what he did was he did films about films and stories about stories, or films about dreams. In other words, the things that he did often commented on the very things that he was actually describing. Now, he actually started out as a college professor. He was a philosophy professor, and then he started making exploitation films, actually pornography. So when he makes his first film, House on the Left, it is absolutely an exploitation film, tons of rape, tons of violence, but it's based in part on Virgin Spring, the Ingmar Bergman Academy Award-winning film. So that collision between the sort of arty and the high, but still the violent and the sordid and the sexual really carried through for a lot of his films all the way up.
That's interesting. So many classic films. Which one do you think would be his best work?
Well, if you look at the ones that he's most known for, you have Nightmare on Elm Street, which again brought in the story and made dreams super scary and created sort of these iconic 1980s, like with Freddy Krueger, you have one of the great iconic films. But when you have a work like Scream, Scream really is a movie about horror movies. In the movie, they're watching horror movies. And so you have this weird balance between a film that knows that its audience knows what it's doing and it does it anyway. It's that sort of, as I said, it's like a postmodern or a meta, something that was very littered throughout the 90s. But he managed to do that. He managed to take a story, tell people that this is what we're doing. We know that you know it's scary to go in the basement. We know it's scary when you don't turn on the lights. We know it's scary when the call's coming right from in your house. But he did a film that actually shocked and scared anyway. And subsequent sequels would be that. It would be sequels were it was sequels about sequels. So it sounds like it should be very dry and very academic, but he managed to blend both the visceral and the cerebral all within the context of a horror movie. And he didn't just do horror movies. I mean, he directed Meryl Streep to an Academy Award nominated performance in a film about her teaching violin to inner city youth. So he had quite a diverse career, but obviously the things that he'll be known for are the Scream and the Nightmare Before Elm Street series.
So you think that's likely to be his legacy. What do you think is going to happen to the genre now that he's gone?
Well, if you look, I'm actually much more familiar with the children of Wes Craven, if that makes any sense. A film like Cabin in the Woods is absolutely within keeping of his stuff. In other words, a super smart movie, not just a horror movie, but an actual super smart piece of cinema that sort of requires a little bit of horror movie baggage. Look, when scary movies first started in the 40s and the 50s, in the sort of way that we think about them, they were definitely based on literature, definitely based on things that weren't cinematic. By the 70s and 80s, you had filmmakers that were making films that their historical basis was cinema. And Wes Craven, along with guys like Scorsese, guys like Spielberg, the fact that we're even talking about him in that context, but nonetheless, these are guys that did gangster movies or Jaws, which is absolutely an exploitation movie on the same sort of level as Last Hill on the Left. You have guys that did movies about movies, and that is part of his legacy, and his films will be watched for many years to come.
Director Wes Craven, dead at the age of 76. Jason Gorber, a critic with Twitchfilm.com. Good to see you again, Jason.
Nice to see you.